Good morning, this is KELOLAND on the go, with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
Memorial Day was a busy one at the South Dakota Military Heritage Alliance in Sioux Falls. In the morning, they hosted a program.
Brian Phelps with the South Dakota Military Heritage Alliance says that recently the meaning of Memorial Day has gotten lost.
For myself, it would have been my grandparents and great-grandparents that fought in those wars. Well, we still have service members that are dying in the conflicts over in the Middle East. It's still remembering even the younger people that aren't coming home. So it's all about remembering those who obviously didn't make it home.
At the program, they had a brass quartet, different speakers, and at times to remember those who were missing in action or prisoners of war.
The Black Hills National Cemetery sees thousands of families around Memorial Day, all showing up to say thank you and to pay their respects.
For the past decade, American flags have been placed in front of each headstone, thanks to the help of hundreds of volunteers for each of the 33,000 members and their spouses located at this memorial site.
There is rivalry between the services, but when it comes down to it, everybody's got each other's back or their six. This is the final resting place, and I'm sure there's a lot of conversation going on underground amongst all of them, thanking each other.
The over 100 acres of land for this national site is open for all who want to say thank you and pay their respects, almost year-round if you missed out on Memorial Day.
Staff at a restaurant in Mitchell are honoring our nation's heroes with a special table and a keepsake.
In the back of the Pizza Hut in Mitchell, customers will find a missing soldiers table set up to honor and remember our fallen and missing soldiers. As customers leave from the meals, they can also take something with them to continue remembering those who've served.
At our counter, we have the Take a Soldier, where they can take a little soldier with them to have as a keepsake. And, if they've got somebody, that's not home overseas or somebody that they're missing.
Bill Hauer plans to keep the missing soldiers table set up for another week.
Let's head over now to the KELOLAND Live Doppler HD Storm Center to get a check of this morning's weather. Good morning, Brian.
All right, good morning, everybody. We are looking at temperatures to remain below average today as we're watching these rain showers already falling during the morning hours in southeastern KELOLAND. We'll continue to watch things fill in into northeastern South Dakota as we go through the morning and into the afternoon. Highs today will reach the 60s, but we have warmer temperatures on the way. And Brian will give you that information coming up.
Thank you, Scott. When discussing the meaning of Memorial Day, Air Force veteran Steve Tecklenburg of Sioux Falls brings up a veteran he recently observed in Washington at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, who was beside himself with emotion.
One of the funniest men I've ever met. Hysterically funny until he was there. And obviously it hit him hard.
Tecklenburg was among the honored veterans brought by a Midwest honor flight to the nation's capital on May 6th.
Catfish Bay in Sioux Falls kicked off the season on Monday with its traditional Memorial Day show.
Each year the team brings in new faces as it sees people anywhere from age 6 to 60 on the water.
Now that we're older and we're growing up, I get to be one of the people who works in pyramids, one of the stronger guys who helps everything come together and make it all work.
The next show is set for Friday, June 6th for Teacher Appreciation Night starting at 7 p.m.
This year, the Sculpture Walk exhibit features 80 sculptures placed throughout downtown Sioux Falls and other high-traffic areas, and all the online photos were captured by one local photographer who was honored for his service this year.
Since the Sculpture Walk's creation in 2003, photographer Paul Schiller said he's taken a photo of every sculpture that was placed. That's 1,258 photos, according to him. It all started as volunteer work, too.
So, this year, Schiller is being honored for his service along with his wife, Connie. The Sculpture Walk Board announced the very first Schiller Champion Award, an award for the lasting impact on the arts community and Sculpture Walk itself.
To experience Schiller's work and the 2025 Sculpture Walk yourself, find this KELOLAND original by Maddie Paul on our website. That's a look at some of our top stories.
Now, let's get one final look at our weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens.
All right, our weather today, well planned accordingly. If you're going to be out looking at the art, it looks like rain showers will stick around off and on today. Not entirely all day rainy here, but certainly we've got a couple of hours yet to go this morning on that rain in Sioux Falls. And then as we head through the early afternoon, any breaks in the clouds will help to yield probably a little instability for a couple of scattered thunder showers too. So that's where we'll land here this afternoon. And there'll be more of that type of conversation going on tomorrow with the weather picture. Wanted to bring you up to speed on the southwestern part of South Dakota. Over Memorial Day weekend, we ended up with some steadier rains, and we did end up with 1.5 inches of rain in far southern Fall River County. You can see the trends over toward Pine Ridge, better than 1 inch, basically 1 to 2 inch swath there. We picked up Hermosa area about 1 inch of rain, but you get up to Interstate 90, it really kind of, fizzled out there. 1/4 inch of rain. We're not entirely done though. We are still watching a patchwork of rain. We had some of that overnight activity out there to the north and northeast of Murdo. And even as we speak this morning, we've had some more sprouting areas of rain, but it's scattered patchwork of rain. Sioux Falls in the southeast too. We're looking at scattered activity through midday, and then as we transition to the afternoon, you can see more of the same here. This is all in response to an upper level low. Notice there's even a little more intensity to that reflection around Watertown and Sisseton. And I think if the temperature can go up close to 70, that'll actually help invigorate those thunderstorms. And they're not widespread, but there should be a couple of them at least, and they'll have a tendency to move from west central Minnesota back toward Aberdeen. So let's see if that scenario in the northeast comes to pass here in the forecast. Overnight tonight, I can't rule out a little bit of scattered rain. We'll probably refuel some of these thunder showers tomorrow, and they'll pop up during the course of the peak heating of the day. We're in the 60s for the most part, although even here, a couple of numbers might get closer to 70, depending on the amount of sun that we can brew up in between the patchwork of rain. We're going to lose that rain signal going into Thursday. We start to warm up, more 70s, and we're going to keep climbing from there as this upper level low spins away, and that's going to be the end of that cycle of weather. Here comes the new pattern. That letter H, that's high pressure. That's a dome of hotter weather spreading in, and it is going to warm up. We've got some 80-degree temperatures. The transition to that still could feature a couple of widely scattered showers or thunderstorms on Saturday. We've seen a consistent signal that there should be at least some of that scattered in eastern South Dakota. I don't expect it to be a widespread rain event, but just to let you know, there could be a few things to track on Saturday. Sunday, Monday, we're really cranking up those temperatures into the 80s, and then another storm system to watch, but the pattern is much different. Now we're talking heat and some humidity, so let's see what that does. That could be a pretty favorable pattern for some thunderstorms in the plains, and we'll make sure that we cover that as we get closer to next week. 60s today for most of us, 64 Sioux Falls with the scattered rain. That chance of rain sticks around tomorrow, 30%. We warm up Thursday, Friday into the weekend. And once we start hitting 80 degrees, your tomato plants and your peppers and all the things in the garden will start to respond a lot better. And then, of course, we're going to need more rain next week. We obviously have been running deficits in Sioux Falls. That's a different story, though, for others, including Aberdeen and Mobridge. We've had a wetter May. We're going to warm up now. The landscape's really going to green up even faster. And I think Pierre in central South Dakota, the big story here is higher temperatures and then eventually higher humidity, too, by early next week. Probably we will get back into a cycle of thunderstorms, but most of that holds off until day 7. Check out the details with the rest of our weather at KELOLAND.com.